Hey Geek, so today I have a very special guest. I have my brother here, and today we're basically going to talk about some of our favorite movies. This is going to be unscripted, just brothers talking about movies. So go ahead and start, bro.
Yeah, so for today, I have picked out some of, I would say, are the movies that really formulated my love for cinema. These movies are going to be ones that I kind of grew up with, and as far as I remember, these are ones that had like major impacts in just like what I appreciate nowadays. So, yeah, from oldest to newest, we have John Carpenter's The Thing, the 1980s version. I actually don't remember which one came out first. The Matrix. I'm guessing the Matrix came out first in Fast and Furious, but I could be wrong. But the first Matrix, and then we have the Fast and Furious collection here. But I'm really only gonna talk about the first one.
Okay.
What do you have?
Yeah, and then for me, very similar to my brother, these are movies that impacted me quite a bit, and they're in a variety of categories. Very similar to my brother. So the first one is this right here, Aliens from James Cameron. I did really love the first Alien, but Aliens was something completely different. It really changed basically my world whenever I saw this. I really love Aliens. And then another one. This was really life-changing, but at a different point in my life. And that is with this movie right here, Office Space from Mike Judge. And for anybody who's worked in corporate America or just corporations in general, this was a huge movie for me because this really got me into it because I started working in an office after college. So this had a really important part in my life. And then the final one was an 80s movie that to this day, I still love. Ninja 3, The Domination. Back in the 80s, ninjas was huge and I wanted to be a ninja when I grow up. So those are my three movies today.
I still want to be a ninja.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I'll go in order of fondness in terms of just me remembering it, and definitely the first one is The Matrix. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually one of the first DVDs that came out. I don't know if you could correct me.
I think that's right because whenever DVD players first came out, The Matrix was one that I definitely had in my collection.
Yeah, Matrix, maybe Species.
I did buy Species.
Yeah. It's one of like the first few ways, if I remember correctly. So,
Yep.
yeah, at the time I had to have been maybe 8 or 9, somewhere around there. But definitely it is deserving of a DVD release because just at the time, right? I think everyone remembers it being as just like the next level in
Yep.
production quality, visuals, everything. So I've probably seen this movie over 15, 20 times. And when you're a kid, you just tend to rewatch the same things over and over. You never get tired of it. Be it Disney movies, maybe Kids with Frozen,
Yeah.
a little bit more recently.
Billions of times.
But The Matrix definitely was one of like the 2 or 3 DVDs that we had. I remember watching it in our little 5-disc DVD player. So,
Yeah.
back in the day, that was like a convenience thing. You saw it in like cars and I guess home theater systems where you could just put in 5 different discs at the same time and change them. It's a bit silly thinking about it right now because like, what is the real purpose of that?
Yeah, and this is way before digital media, so
Right.
having a carousel
Yeah.
was really awesome.
Yeah, we had a little 5.1 system. So the surround sound, the visuals, we had a big 65-inch projection TV with this, and man, it's awesome. As a kid, obviously, I didn't really get a lot of the overtones and the allegories and the things that they're alluding to. And I think that's the great thing about this movie is that it really caters to a lot of different audiences. If you want to watch it strictly for the action, there's plenty of that in there, and it's amazing, top tier, top quality. But the more you rewatch it, the more you pick up on it, right? And even watching it nowadays, I will still pick up new things that I hadn't thought about whenever I do rewatch. And movies with those kind of legs really speak to me, just because you get to really see what the director and just like the whole production of like how much thought they put into it in order to, I don't know, just really make something that says a lot. Even within like the runtime, most movies like hour and a half to 2.5 hours. You'll have some movies that say nothing, and then you have some movies that just say a lot. And I think
Yep.
this is one of those where it ties that element as well as like obviously like the over the top production quality. So I really, really, really love this movie. I'm a huge Keanu Reeves stan, and definitely this is like one of his biggest breakouts, right? I mean, he did movies before this, and obviously, but to me, this will always like kind of embody him. And whenever I think of Keanu, I think of the first Matrix.
And it was really hard for me not to choose The Matrix because it is one of the most revolutionary movies to this day. I still would say there's no other movie like it, and it has such a huge impact. But my brother already chose it, and so instead of Matrix, I went with Aliens. But this movie, even as I'm watching it now, and I think my brother can relate, like you see things differently depending upon your age and where you're at in life. So now when I watch it, I see different concepts and things, especially now in our quote-unquote modern world, where a lot of these concepts that the Wachowskis were referring to, they're becoming more and more real, you know. And so I really love that aspect of it. And then from a technical standpoint, still to this day, I watch it, it still blows away most modern movies nowadays that we watch with all this CGI.
Right.
Just stand the test of time.
Yep. I love this movie. Classic. It'll never go out.
Yeah, never go out. Yeah. And The Matrix Reloaded and then The Matrix Revolutions. They were okay. And then the latest Matrix, The Matrix Revisit. What was it? I just want to...
It was forgettable. We don't even remember the time of the movie.
I just want to... I'm just going to pretend it was never made.
What else do you have up?
So as I was saying for Aliens, you know, initially, this was something that absolutely blew me away. Whenever this came out in 1986, I, like most people, didn't watch it in the theater. I was too young. So I watched it on TV and then later in VHS tapes. But this one was a defining movie. And this is before I knew who James Cameron was. But who I knew from this movie and the movie before was Sigourney Weaver. This is by far her best role. Ridley, as a character, she is a badass. And Aliens really took the horror elements, which was really what Ridley Scott focused on, and made it more of an action sci-fi. And I can't say enough about this. From a production value, from a technical standpoint, it's amazing. And then the creature designs by H.R. Giger, it's still to this day the most unique and scary thing that I've seen. And there's the whole world building and the story. I could go back to this over and over and over. And that's something that James Cameron does really well because movies like Aliens, Terminator 2, I've probably seen hundreds and hundreds of times and I'd never get sick of it. So Aliens for me, absolutely incredible and a watermark in theater.
Yeah, I think that's one of the strengths. The two movies I kind of associate pretty closely together with Cameron, Aliens and Terminator, right? Mm-hmm. The ability to pivot from the first movie to the second movie and still have both of them be like knockout movies in their own rights was amazing to me. A lot of times you see sequels or prequels or whatever. They don't live up to the hype, you know. In this case, I feel like I still prefer Alien to Aliens, but it's just as good, if not better, in a lot of respects. So, and that's just extremely hard to do, to live up to that, you know, the predecessor and be able to output something like I said, as good or if not better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right, so another movie very near and dear to me. This is the 6-movie collection, but I'm only going to talk about the first one. Is the original Fast and Furious. I actually watched this and The Matrix a lot, sometimes back to back. So yeah, definitely around that same age, I had a huge fondness for this movie, and it actually probably jump-started a lot of my interest in, you know, cars and street culture and all those things. So for me, obviously, it's an okay movie, but it's just something so iconic about it at the time that you just can't help but love it. Yes, it's very corny in a lot of aspects. Yes, it has a lot of great quotable lines. Character development is whatever, you know, like... Honestly, it's not really like top marks in any specific category, but just as a fun package, I love it. And part of it is, you know, with the kid, you know, rosy tinty glasses, but yeah, and even I'll still watch it today, and it's not more as like it's definitely a nostalgia watch for sure, but I still love it. And for this one, I've probably seen this movie at least like 15, 20 times as well. I didn't have the DVD back in the day, but what I did was I burned it onto a VCD to watch on my Dreamcast. I probably have like 20 different copies of this because I always get the aspect ratio wrong. But
and for anybody who's too young to know, my brother's talking about VCDs and video CD.
Right. So yeah, it just a lot of sentimental value for me. A lot of time spent trying to burn this movie correctly, but also watching it at the same time. And you know what? It's probably due to watch it for my yearly viewing. So yeah, definitely recommend the original Fast and Furious. The sequels are all okay, but not as much my cup of tea. But
Yeah.
the original will always have a very special place in my heart.
Same here, and just like my brother, the first one is my favorite. And for me, it was around the time that this whole street culture, it was big. Honda Civics, tuning cars,
Underglow.
yeah, yeah,
Big
just
wing
sound
stickers,
systems, yeah, wheels. I mean, whenever we got out of the theater, you know, I was a lot younger back then. All of us just got into our Hondas, just revved up. Everybody wanted to drive fast.
Yeah.
It was just
it made you want to
super
be
fun. Yeah,
you know,
made you want to be real.
exactly like the people in these movies, and I think that's like such a great testament to a movie. It's like you just get so hyped and amped, like, oh man, I want to go out and do that. And you know, I'm pretty sure this movie single-handedly just like revolutionized the industry, even outside from like a filmmaking perspective, right? Because at that point, everyone wanted to be a street racer.
Everybody.
And even today, you can still see the effects of, of like just how much of a foundation that built, you know, in terms of just the culture, right?
Yeah.
So,
and if you do go back and watch this first one, or if you've never seen it, well, you should see it.
Yeah.
It's not about family.
Yeah, it is not.
As the
I mean, it is, but it is.
Yeah, it's just street culture is just really, really fun.
And just it's such a raw and pure form. You know, all the other Fast and Furious that came out after this, they tried to really hold on to, I guess, like the brand or the identity of the Fast and Furious and the whole family thing. And it gets like corny in a different way, but the first one is just like a raw telling. You know, I don't know. It's just the purest form of these movies. So I definitely love the first one.
Yep, and you know, I can't say enough about not only Vin Diesel but also Paul Walker. With this first movie, it established them as characters but also as people, and they were the most memorable things about these series of movies. You know, so
Definitely.
And then for me, Office Space, you know, I kind of alluded to this and kind of talked about it already, but this is corporate life. There are a lot of things in here that people who are in corporate can relate with, you know, the TPS reports, having Lindbergh come in and ask you about working on a Saturday or Sunday, having Milton say, you know, if they move my desk one more time, I'm going to burn this place down. And the whole idea, this whole background of them like stealing fractional money and then getting into trouble, that was funny. But what the most funny thing is actually the whole culture, the whole corporate culture, the whole grind, all the different characters in this you can relate with. For anybody who's been in corporate culture, especially in IT, this is the movie for you, and it was definitely the movie for me. So.
Yeah, I mean, I still love this movie. I love Mike Judge movies, and one of the most impressive things to me is that he's able to represent whatever he's deconstructing so well. So, you know, be it Office Space or I'm sorry, what's the other one about the future dystopia one?
Oh man, that one was so good. Futurama?
No,
that was a show, not the movie.
Man, we're terrible critics right now,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it is the one where in the future everyone is very dumb. Idiocracy.
Idiocracy.
Yeah, sorry,
That is an awesome movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
Silicon Valley, King of the Hill, right? Like he's able to just create these universes and embody it so well.
Beavis and Butthead.
Right, and it feels so effortless whenever he does, you know, these like deconstructions of them, right? But yeah, Office Space, even now, it's hilarious to watch. You know,
Yeah.
I kind of pass or miss that like era of like corporate IT, but definitely it's still hilarious to watch, even more so if you're into space and you know about it. But yeah.
It's awesome.
All right, so next up I have John Carpenter's The Thing. This came out in 82, or was it 84? Well, the movie takes place in 82, but definitely the 80s version. And I honestly don't remember when I first viewed this, but I remember it having a profound impact. Probably really kickstarted my love for practical props.
Oh yeah.
You know, a lot of these movies that we're talking about, we've chosen them because they're timeless, right? And that they age super well. And to me, The Thing definitely holds up in one of the best usages of practical props, even like 40 years later.
Yeah.
I still love the effects. I still love the brooding, deep 80s synth. You know, John Carpenter is amazing. I think as like a director and a filmmaker, you know. But yeah, it's just to me like one of like the most perfect horror movies. And I think one of my favorite aspects about it as well is that in the end, you kind of really don't know what happens.
Yeah, you don't know.
You know, no spoilers or anything. I mean, at this point, like you probably have seen this movie, but yeah, it leads up a lot, and even into this day, like they haven't really confirmed anything, in terms of the actual ending. But yeah, very similar, I think, to Alien, in terms of just kind of like that creeping horror, the overarching horror that eventually comes and you don't know, and it's more about the fear of the unknown, right?
Yep.
But yeah, I love this movie. I also need to rewatch this one soon.
And also, this version of the thing, which stars Kurt Russell, it was actually a remake of a black and white film. And then there was another remake of this one later on, which...
prequel.
Yeah, prequel,
Yeah,
which
prequel.
was nowhere
Modern.
near as
Yeah.
good as this. I mean, practical effects, God, the creature in this thing, the
Yes.
thing was absolutely horrifying. Just like the very first Alien or
Right.
Aliens, you just can't beat those practical creature effects.
Yeah, shout out to another movie pretty similar to this that maybe didn't hit mainstream as much or really was a cult classic, but Herbert West Reanimator also. had a
Oh,
lot of
yeah,
good practical
Reanimator,
effects,
yep.
yeah. Those two movies really hold, another special place in my heart just because of those practical effects. Just like how gross and grotesque and how slimy and gooey and goopy things were. But yeah, that and again, like the 80s synth soundtrack.
I love 80s
cannot,
synth.
cannot, say that I love it. Like these words escape me. But yeah, classic.
Classic. Hopefully
classic.
they don't remake this or another one. Okay, and so the last one we're going to talk about today is Ninja 3: The Domination. Man, I love ninja movies, and this one to me was the pinnacle. It stars Shokasuke, who was the ninja. He was in every single ninja movie, and Ninja 3: Domination was actually part of a trilogy. There was Enter the Ninja, which was the first one that Shokasuke was in, and then there was Revenge of the Ninja, and there's Ninja 3: The Domination. They're not related at all, but the only things that's related here is Shokasuke and Ninja. And the reason why I love Ninja 3: Domination so much is there's no other movie like it. So you have this lead character, I forgot her name, but this actress was in Breaking and Breaking 2. It's from Canon Films. So if you know Canon, they produce a lot of great B movies. And this one had her, and she is basically a electrician. She is a dancer, like flash dance. And then she becomes a ninja. And then there's elements of The Exorcist and Poltergeist all in one movie. And man, is it a good time. I honestly, even when I was a kid, I loved it. I love this movie. And even now as an adult, I still get those same vibes. So if you wanted to watch, in my opinion, what is the best ninja movie out of the 80s, that is unlike any other movie you've seen, Ninja 3: The Domination is it.
Yeah, I have this on a watch list, definitely. One of my favorite pastimes is just to go through, watch like schlocky 80s trailers and, queue them up for a later time. And this is definitely one of those movies on there. So I definitely have to watch this one too.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna definitely let my brother borrow this, or he could watch it.
Yeah.
But it is only a ninja can kill a ninja. Don't forget that. So those are some of our picks for some of our favorite movies. Did you have any other thoughts on these movies that we talked about?
I love movies. What can I say? Yeah, and I think we had like a very good selection today. So, if you haven't seen them, please do check them out.
Yeah, thank you so much. If you had any thoughts on the movies we've talked about or any other movies that you've enjoyed, be sure to leave in the comments area below. And if you did want to see more of my movie collection, movie review videos, I do have an entire playlist. And is there anything else that you want to tell the audience, bro? All the other movie lovers out there?
Peace.
Later. Hey geeks, if you are a brand new creator and you simply want something easy to get you started, well, I got something for you with my Creator Starter Kit. This is a super simple step-by-step guide that's going to take you from having no channel to developing your very first YouTube channel, along with ideas, thumbnail designs, and other creator tips, including marketing. And the best part is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and get started creating.